I get to meet the guys that flew them in World War II, and I get to thank them personally, because if it wasn't for those brave young men, we wouldn't have the freedoms we have today.
The B-17 isn't as big as the plane you expect to see from the stories told by folks like my grandfather. You want the plane to be a massive, hulking expanse of sheet metal and wings, but in reality the plane is smaller than all but the smallest commercial commuter aircraft. The conditions inside are cramped as well. Where I sat on Thursday, during a flight in the aluminum overcast B-17 leaving from the Olive Branch Airport, was the same space occupied by an 18 or 19-year-old boy during World War II. He would have been working the knobs controlling equipment for the radios. The knobs were less than 10 inches from my face, and my knees were on the wall in front of me. Luckily, I was able to get up and move around the airplane, but a long flight would have been nearly claustrophobic sitting there. Moving around the airplane would have been no piece of cake either. I squeezed my already narrow frame sideways to climb through the bomb bay to the front of the airplane to take my seat in the bombardier's chair and look at the greatest view I've ever had in an airplane. There, before me, opened up the expanse of Olive Branch through a glass bubble on the nose of the B-17. I bent over the bomb sites and imagined. I tried to imagine what it would be like to be in this plane flying over Germany, knowing 1 in 3 of my comrades would not return to England with me after this trip. I imagined trying to keep my eye pinned to the sight while the plane bounced around amid flak and fighter fire. I tried to imagine concentrating on my target while the 2 machine guns over my shoulders sprayed hellfire into the air around. I then thought about the 2 men sitting in the back of the plane. In their 80s now, the men were once inside a plane just like this one, flying over the people who were trying best to kill them. They were bringing their own destruction to those below in the bombs sitting in the bays in the middle of the plane. The bays carrying those bombs were surprisingly small. No more than 100 bombs could have fit in the bay, and since they were only guided by where they left the plane, it's a surprise they ever hit a target. But those B-17s did hit targets in large numbers. They were the vanguard of what would be an army on foot climbing through the countryside of Germany in the last years of the war. They pounded the German military installations as best they could and hoped to slow down the Wehrmacht. And thousands of men, like those 2 sitting in the back of the plane Thursday, lost their lives on these missions.
Well, I flew 35 missions on Top Turret on a B-17 and 15th Air Force.
I've been it for 17 years, and I've been to every state in the Union except Alaska and Hawaii, and we just don't have the fuel to go up there. So anyway, I've been all over the country in places that I never would have gone probably, and met so many nice people because of this airplane. I met celebrities. I've had Clint Eastwood on here. I've had many music stars fly with us. Rusty Wallace flew with us once, a race car driver. And because of this airplane, I get to go everywhere and meet nice people. And
that this aircraft operates under a special exemption, and normally we would not be allowed to carry passengers, but because of the historical significance here, we do have a waiver to be able to carry passengers and show you what the airplane is like in it. As you can see, it's an ex-military aircraft, no insulation on the inside or anything like that here. So when you're walking around, please be careful, don't fall into any of the edges, because some of these edges are kind of sharp. Also, all the control wires are running through here back to the tail for the elevator and the rudder and the trim tabs and everything like that. When you're walking around, don't get your fingers up in them, because these wires are moving and they can hurt you. There are several entrances or exits on this plane, however you want to call it. The first is the one that we just came through right there. That was the entrance door for us there. There's a small one in the back in the event of emergency. If we had to get off it, we could use it. That's the tail gunner's door. There's a hatch right up in here, and when you walk through it, you'll be able to see it. It's a plastic hatch in the radio room, and we can take that hatch out of there, and we can get off the airplane that way if we want. For those of us that might be small enough, I probably don't even have to cover that. you could use the pilot's or the co-pilot side windows. There's also another hatch if you watch any of them old movies up there where they used to pull themselves up through. Again, that's another exit on the airplane in the event of emergency.
well, it's a big tail dragger, and it's a handful. It has no boosted controls. It's all muscle power, and it's a handful in the crosswind. It's a challenge to fly that. That's what makes it fun to fly.
So, are you a big, strong guy to pull this thing around?
Well, I got a big, strong guy with me. I got Rick Fernald. He's about 6'4", so that helps. But, yeah, it's a lot of fun. But compared to airline flying, this is quite different.
It gives you a thrill.
This flight was real good. This is great.
That was awesome.
Reminded me of when I was flying in the tail and it kind of bounced me around a little bit.
It's great. great flight.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
This throttle quadrant is all original. Everything from here over is original. Everything from here over that way is new. And we
And
have to have, obviously, the modern avionics to get around. Actual triple GPSs. This is the throttles. You got 1, 2, 3, and 4 engine. If you want to control all 4 of them, you grab them right here in the middle and you got all 4, see? If you want 1, you do that. If you want 4, you do that. And if you want 2, you do that. 3, you do that. And that's the way they flew formation, with their hand upside down, you know, back and forth, back and forth. This is the prop control. This is high RPM and low RPM. And this is a mixture for the carburetors. Idle cutoff, lean, rich. And that's the magnetos, boost pumps, all the engine controls and gauges over there. All the flight gauges are over here.
Well, the airplane's going to be here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They can come out. There is a website that they can go to. It's b17.org. They can go to that and they can get information that way, or just come out here. We'll have people working, and they can tour the airplane. I believe it's $5 for individuals to tour through the airplane, $15 for families, and children under 8 accompanied by an adult is free. You can also buy flights on the airplane. It's around $3.99 for a flight that gives you 20 to 30 minutes in the airplane. So it's very, very exciting to be able to fly in this airplane.
The plane is now a flying museum and a reminder of what courage and guts it took to fight World War II. It will be on display through the weekend at the Olive Branch Airport. Tours and rides are available. Tours are open from 2 to 5 p.m. and cost $5 for adults and $15 per family. For more information, see b17.org.
If you used a 6-ack, it's yours. I don't want it back.